Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. That is me. I am here to help you today understand what are the most common marketing mistakes companies are making. A lot of people are making these mistakes. So if you hear something that you're doing incorrectly, my hope is not to chastise you or make you feel bad. It's to help you correct some of these simple mistakes so that you can increase your visibility online, resonate better with your prospects, and increase your sales. Marketing and sales are like a hand and a glove. If you're doing one incorrectly, the odds are the other is suffering. I spent 20 plus years in business to business sales. And one of the things that I struggled with almost almost every single place I went to was the marketing strategies were just not correct. So, what I'm going to do today is help you figure out some of the things that I wish the companies I had worked for along my path had did better at. Okay. So, I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. I'm going to ask for you guys to participate more than I normally do. Right now, people are putting in where they're joining from, which is really cool. It's actually one of my daughters who is watching here from California. I've got somebody from uh, Nigeria here. We've got people from Washington, D.C. I think I saw one more. Oh, he didn't say where he was from. That's okay. But we've got people from all over. This is my son, it's fun to have some family support. I got to tell you, my kids are like, man, Dad, I don't always know what to say in the comments. However, I said, just comment. That's fine. It's one of the things that I need you guys to understand. Marketing is not all about the sales pitch. It really isn't. In fact, it doesn't even start with the sales pitch. And we can get into that very much more. We got somebody here from Barcelona. Welcome, Dominic. My my wife is not home right now, so she's flirting with me on my show. That's wonderful. I will take it any way I can get it. All right, here we go. Is it okay to say? Yeah, I think that's fine. You're my wife, so you could say whatever you like. That's great. All right. Here's the thing about marketing. It doesn't start with sales. Whether we're talking about your website, whether we're talking about your social media strategies, the number one thing I need you to understand is that there's more to it than just here's my product or my service, here's the pitch, and here's the price. If you're doing those three things, I would say in good company, but you're in the majority. Because when I look at websites, when I look at people's social media strategies, when I look at their marketing materials, the number one thing that I see is too much about them, too much about their offer, and not enough about the prospect. The prospect is going to be how you either increase your sales or why you miss out on sales and why they drive their business towards a competitor. You may not care about that so much. It's called an opportunity cost, but it is the ball game. So we're going to get into, yeah, hello from Uganda. Welcome, Rebecca. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into what are some of the most common mistakes that people are making with their marketing today. This show is 100% about that. But what I'm going to do a little bit differently, and I haven't been doing this much, is if you have a website, even if you want to look at a competitor of your website, just let me know if it's yours or your competitors, because some of the things I might share might be a little bit different based on if it's yours or your competitors. I might be a little nicer to you than your competitor, for example. But anyways, we're going to do some website reviews as part of this because I want to give you some real world practical applications. What people are doing, what the mistake is, and how I would correct it if I were in your shoes. And just in full disclosure, we do run a marketing firm. It's called Bowman Digital Media. So after watching this today, if you're like, man, I am out of my depth, I'm not really good at this, Ira, can your team help? The answer to that, of course, is yes, we can. And what people love about Bowman Digital Media, we not only have all our products and services listed, we also have product descriptions and pricing available. So you can do that. There's no problem with having that on your website. We have all that on our website. So you don't have to guess how much things would cost. But we don't start with products, services, and prices. That's not where we start. In fact, if you follow me on social media, which I'm assuming most of you do, because you're here on my show live, whether that's on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, we're simulcast on all three. No matter how or where you're following me from, the odds are you're probably following me. So you probably noticed this about the way I conduct myself on social media and the way my business conducts itself on social media. We don't pitch on social media. Now, that's not the most common mistake, but that is a mistake a lot of people are making. They're treating their social media channels like a place just to sell. And here's the problem with that. The problem with treating your marketing channels as simply sales channels is you have to develop a relationship with folks first. In other words, you've got to get them to know who you are, like you, and trust you to some degree before you ask them to give you their business. You haven't earned it yet. You got to work on that relationship building. Now, how does that tie in to the most common marketing mistake? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen real quick. And I'm going to go over to Google. Let's make this bigger. All right. Well, can't do that one. Can do that one. Okay. So I asked Google, and any of you could have done this. What is the most common marketing mistake? Yeah. Developing a relationship before asking is extremely important. You don't have the position of you're not on the right footing yet to ask for business until you have that relationship. They've got to know you a little bit. They've got to like you a little bit. They've got to trust you a little bit. Why? Because you're not the only game in town. Just use my company for example. Do you know how many marketing firms there are in the world right now? There are over a million. With COVID, there was a huge influx of new marketing companies because one of those things, no offense to anybody, but it's one of those things that you don't necessarily need a lot of experience to throw your hat in the ring. And so a lot of people threw their hat in the ring, and that's totally fine. This is really funny. So my name is Ira Bowman, but this is not me. This is actually my son. So it's kind of fun. They're supporting me. It's awesome. All right, but here's what I want you to do. If you go to what is the most common marketing mistake, there are actually quite a few answers in here, and you can look at them all. But I'm going to pull just a couple here, and the one that you're going to see more than anything is something to do with this. Now they're going to phrase it a little differently in each of the answers, and I have this on my website too, which I'll show you in a second. But not knowing the audience is a huge part, but it's not the only part of it. if I was writing this answer, and I have written this answer, I would go into just a little bit more detail. It's not just knowing who your audience is, it's also knowing what their pain points are, what they struggle with, what their budgets are, what's the market that they're in. There's a lot to it. And so in school, what we learned, and I'm going to come back to this, but I'm going to go big here for a second because we're still all of this is all this is by way of introduction. And seriously, folks, if you don't know that you're not the only game in town, you got to get your head out of the sand. There are so many people and so many companies out there who do what you do, right? Even in niche markets, everybody's got competition. Even if you don't consider them competition, let's consider them alternatives as opposed to competition. There's alternative places where people can put their money, invest their money, trust that that alternative solution will get them where they want to go. So, if you take the time, and you need to take the time to figure out who your clients are. Now, again, I was saying this in school, we learned it this way. We called them avatars. Who is your client avatar? Well, what's an avatar? Well, now in the world of, cartoons and stuff on social media, people have like their image as a cartoon and they think that's an avatar. And well, it is kind of an avatar. But what an avatar actually is, and another way to say it, a new modern way to say this, is ideal client profile, or ICP, because in marketing, we like to make acronyms out of everything, right? So ICP, you'll hear this a lot. ICP. What is an ICP? Well, an ICP depends on what you do, and there's a couple different ways to diagram it out. But typically, you're looking at demographic information and vertical market information. Now, if I'm speaking above your head, I don't mean to do that. Okay. So I'm going to break this all down like you are a 5-year-old. Not because I'm trying to offend you, not because I'm trying to insult your intelligence, not because, I don't know where your base information for marketing actually is. And because this is such a common issue, I want to make sure people understand it. It is extremely, extremely important. By the way, this is my daughter, Lizzie, that most of you have been praying for years. She is still struggling. In fact, she's at the doctor right now. So if you could continue to pray for her, I'd really appreciate it. We could use prayer. She's having some kidney troubles. She's having a lot of trouble. She's been regressing, but if you could lift her up in prayer, man, I would really appreciate that. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to keep looking because I think this will help you. Again, so it's not just coming from me, but you're seeing this, from a variety of places. So we've said not knowing your target audience. Well, we're going to get back to the rest of that list because it's really good. But here we go. This is a better answer. Not defining your customer first. I love this. Arturo, thank you so much. He said, I'm a 5-year-old. Yes, I'm talking to you then, Arturo. I'm talking to everybody that's like you. Yes, God absolutely does. He's been with us every step of the way through the journey. It's been a struggle. It's been the fight of our life, but we're not giving up. One thing about Lizzie is she is a fighter, and I tell you, my wife is fighting too. Hey, thank you, Lizzie. In fact, there's a picture of Lizzie and Mama when she was struggling even worse. So there you go. All right, but let's get back into this. Okay, so not defining your customer first. You need to really, and I mean really, put a lot of effort into this because the number one thing that I hear from people when I ask who's your client or who's your prospective client, they give me like really, really superficial answers. I have somebody even say, like, everybody's my customer or could be. Well, okay, that might be true. But think of it like a bell curve. This might help you. Like, I like visuals, I like analogies. Okay. Little James is a baby that we watch and he's clapping for me. He loves me and I love him. Sometimes I wonder if he loves me more than my kids. I don't know. He's like 9 months old, so he's really cute. All right. Thank you very much, guys, for all the supportive comments. I really appreciate that. Okay. Well, let's get into defining your customer. If you think of it like a bell curve, what I want you to do is think about that middle point, the middle point in the highest part, right? The arc of the bell curve. That's really who I'm talking about. So let me break it down for you for Bowman Digital Media. Like, I'm going to give you some examples. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt my ICP because I spent a lot of time working on it. Why? Because it is the foundation. Like, before you create your first piece of content, before you know where to market at, what type of strategies to employ, you really need to understand who your prospect, your ideal prospect is, what kind of pain points they have, where they are, where do they hang out, who do they trust, what their competitors are, right? Who are they? Where are they? What money are they spending? What effort are they making? You need to understand this because if you can speak intelligently to an ICP, again, an ideal client or customer profile, if you can resonate your message with them where they are and focus on the pain points that they have and speak to the solutions that you prevent, you will not really need to be a great salesperson to get their business. As long as you don't go straight for the throat. And what I mean by that is you don't shove a proposal down their face the first 30 seconds of talking to them. And you're talking to them whether you realize it or not. Marketing, advertising, social media posts, emails, billboard signs, wherever it is that you are communicating with them. If you start the conversation with the sales pitch, they are going to throw their guard up and block you out so fast, you don't even have a chance. You don't. So, part of why I do what I do in sharing personal information, in sharing stuff that I do, as a hobby, or, like a lot of I've been walking. My wife says I walk too much. She's probably right. But why do I share that? I share it in part because I want people to see me not only as Ira, the SEO nerd or the marketing nerd, which I am, and there's nothing wrong with people seeing me that way. But there's more to me than that. I have a family. I have struggles with, mental issues, anxiety, depression, anger. I've had that struggle, right? I shared openly that I went to therapy. I share, look, I started walking to try to lose weight and I'm still trying to lose weight, which has been going pretty well. But I like the walking so much because it helps me with some of those mental struggles. In fact, I have a book coming out next month on mental struggles. But why do I do all of that? Why is it that all that's happening? Well, part of it is so that when people see my posts, they're not just seeing marketing, 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 marketing. Now, some people in marketing will think that what I do is a mistake, and I'll gladly debate them because the people who follow me, the people that know me on social media, for as well as they can know me on social media, part of that is the humanization of Ira. So they see me as a person, not just as a corporate machine. But what I can tell you specifically about my clients at Bowman Digital Media, my ideal client profile, is that they are typically 30 to 50. They're typically service based. They're typically in the United States. They typically have 10 or less employees. They typically have a website that is not performing well. They typically have a marketing budget of less than $2,000 a month. They typically are not on the first page of Google. They typically don't have a very good social media presence, if one really at all, for their business. And they typically are in industries where they have a lot of competition. They could be coaches, authors, speakers, lawyers, accountants, HVAC, all kinds of service providers. Yeah, this is part of the strategy, right? I'm not doing it to be inauthentic, quite the opposite. I do it to show my humanistic nature, the fact that I'm fallible, the fact that I'm not perfect, the fact that I make mistakes. I'm still learning. I read like a crazy man. I'm reading right now. It might seem self-serving, but I'm reading my own book. We put out a book. Let me switch this up. We put out a book. It's on Amazon if you want to read it. It's called Business Tips from the Trenches, Expert Advice to Start Your Small Business or Side Hustle. It's me and 12 of my friends. We each wrote a chapter. It's on Amazon. It's selling well. But why do I read? I read so much. I don't really like to read. Let me just be very clear with that. I don't like to read, but I'm constantly trying to learn. And in this book is a perfect example of ways I'm trying to learn. So each one of these authors is a business owner in their own right. And what we did is we shared 3 business tips that we wish we had known before we started our own businesses and a lesson learned. In other words, a mistake that we made after we launched our business that we didn't let it kill us, but it definitely slowed down our progress. But you take those lessons learned and you apply them. If you take all the tips from this book and you absorb them and then you apply them as a new business owner, or someone starting a side hustle, you'll get a lot farther faster than we did because you'll benefit from the information in this book. Now, this is just one book. I've got 12 more up there that I'm somewhere in the process of reading. Some of them I'm almost done. Some of them I haven't flipped the cover open yet, right? So I'm in the process, but I read a lot. Why? Because we need to learn. That is, I'm not the world's foremost expert at anything, but I can take information that other people share, assimilate it, apply it, and then be better for it. Yeah. See, this is it. This is what I want people to see. So I'm not, it's not a Photoshop life. Look, I've been using Photoshop for 15 plus years now. I love Photoshop. But the fact is, sometimes it's okay to let people see the scar, the wrinkle, the wart, the imperfections. That's what actually makes us human. And if your marketing is completely Photoshopped and everything looks perfect, you may be missing the mark because that imperfection, those missteps, those things that set you back, sometimes that's the thing that people are going to resonate with. Love, love it when people are showing their struggles. Okay. When one can refer to his own content as personal growth strategy shows that you believe what you put out there. I do believe what I put out there. This is one thing that makes me a little bit unique than most people. I'm very open about the mistakes that I make, not because I want to glory in the mistakes, but look, mistakes aren't failures. People say, you know, learn. What is it? What there's a saying. Win or learn, right? It isn't losing. The only time it's losing when you make a mistake or a misstep or a strategy you employ isn't effective is if you don't course correct. So another mistake that's made a ton is not tracking your results. In fact, let me put that up on the screen, right? Not tracking your results is a huge, huge problem. In fact, on my website, I just want to share this with you guys real quick. So if you go to bowmandigitalmedia.com, I want to show you guys something. Now in this view, it's chopping it off, but when you go here full screen, the very first thing you're going to see is the name of the company and what we do, and then this question right here. Need more sales. Why is that important? You know why that's important? That's important because my ICP, my ideal client profile, my avatar, the people that I'm trying to get to continue to consume the content on my website, the number one issue that most of them have is they are not selling enough. Now, that's not the thing that I can do for them directly. I could, but that's not what my company offers. It's not the service we provide. We don't do sales work. We do marketing work. So why don't I say need better marketing? Why do I say need more sales? Here's your first real world example from my website. The reason why we don't say need better marketing or we'll make you number one on Google is because most people that I talk to don't understand what marketing really is, and they don't understand the power of Google. I can tell you that if you're ignoring Google, you're making a huge marketing mistake. But my ICP, when they read it, the 30 to 50-year-old business owner who needs more sales is not necessarily looking to spend a bunch of money on SEO until I can make the case for them that the SEO is exactly what they're missing to drive sales up. And I can make that case in a lot of cases. In most instances, If you spend more money, focus on a better SEO strategy, your sales will increase. They have exponentially grown for me at Bowman Digital Media. When I first started for the first year, we spent all our resources, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm not exaggerating. Ask my wife or my kids, they're in the comments. They'll tell you. I work more than most people, and I spent all of my time working on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That was a mistake. Why? Because of the math. Google has way more volume in one single day than all of social media does combined for the entire month. So by focusing all my effort on social media and ignoring Google, I was counting the pennies and watching the dollars fly by. You understand? You need to pay attention to Google. You need to have an SEO strategy. I'm not saying ignore social media. I don't ignore it. You see it. I'm here right now. But I don't spend all of my time on social media because it's a mistake. It is absolutely a mistake. And you have to learn as you go or hire somebody like me who can help you. All right. So, why is this here? It's here because it resonates with the pain point. The number one problem that most people I meet with identified for themselves was they need more sales. I hear it every single day. Ira, I just need more sales. If I could get more sales, then I can hire you to do all this other stuff. But how do you get the sales? Well, one of the ways to get more sales, and here it is, we help drive more traffic. What does that mean? It's a little bit convoluted if you don't know marketing and you don't understand that I'm talking about website traffic, not traffic over on, Highway 5 or Highway 1 or whatever highway you have in your area, right? I'm not talking about getting in your car and sitting in traffic. I'm talking about the opposite. This is a good thing. You want your website to have a lot of visitors. Why? Because the more visitors you bring, the higher chance you have of making sales. Now, can people come to your website? They're the wrong audience. Yes, they can. Can people come to your website, not find what they're looking for, and leave? Yes, they can. Can you pay for expensive ads and have a huge bounce rate, which basically means people come, they don't stay, they don't do anything? Yes, you can. So just getting people to your website is not the only criteria. This is, again, partly why we need to identify the ideal client profile, the ICP. Because once we get them there, we want to do something just like I did right here. I don't mean this in the physical sense, but we want to smack them in the face. We want to ring their bell. We want them to go, yes, that's what I'm looking for. And we want to do it right at the top, right out of the gate. In the print industry, which I spent 20 plus years in the industry of printing, there's an expression called above the fold. So on your website, you want to have one clear gotcha statement, idea, question that when they see it, they can't help but go, that's me. This is where I need to be. Because if you can catch them in that first second or two and grab their attention, the odds of them scrolling down, of playing the video. Notice the video is right here, by the way. We're going to get to that in a second. But why a video is so important is because of this. You have to understand consumer behavior patterns. Consumer behavior patterns are not universal, but some of them transcend the demographics and some of them don't. But I will tell you this, across the board, out of 100% of all people who go online, 80%, it's an insane number, really, but 80% of people are going to click on a video. They're going to land on a video. They're going to surf the web, the internet, until they find a video that's interesting, and they're going to watch a video. So if you know that, and you can get at the top of your website, what we call above the fold, a question or a statement that catches their attention that they resonate with. And then you'll have a video that backs it up. What are we going to talk about in this video? Looking to increase sales is in the title. What do you think I'm talking about in this video? I don't even have to play it for you. You could see it right there. Looking to increase sales. What am I asking them? Need more sales. I'm driving the point home in a video. Okay. All of that was just by way of introduction. So we help drive more traffic to our clients' websites to increase their sales. Want to rank higher on Google. This used to be the title that I had right here. But you know why I changed it? It was a mistake, but I changed it. I updated the strategy to help resonate better with my clients. Now, why did I have that before? Because frankly, about 50% of what we do around here is all Google based. Like the strategies for Google are at least 50% of what my company is focusing on for our clients because it can have the biggest impact for them and their business and help them increase their sales. But by saying want to rank higher on Google, I was missing the mark because even though people should get it, most people still don't get it. That Google is a huge opportunity for them to increase their sales, drive sales into their sales pipeline, or the opportunity cost is you're going to lose out to the people or the companies who are focusing on a Google strategy that works. You understand what I'm saying? Most, I'm going to say it like this. I think I feel 100% confident in saying this. Most people who get a lot of business aren't necessarily the people that are the best at what they do. They're simply the ones that have the best marketing and sales strategies because it takes volume. You can get all your business from referrals. That's not great. You might think that's great. You might feel really good about that. But what that tells me is if you're watching this and you're going, well, Ira, I get all my business from referrals, you feel great about it. But you should feel bad about that because what that means is there's not enough people who know about what you do. And you're only getting what it should be the cream of your business, the very top. Of course, it's awesome to get referrals. I love referrals. But the fact is, there's not enough people out there referring me to help me grow at a rate that's going to get me to my end goals. I have goals for my business. I'm sure you have goals for your business of where you would like to see it grow to. And referrals only, there's just not enough volume. Now, you might have really small goals and you're like, yeah, I can hit my goals with just referrals. Okay. Maybe then part of your problem is to step outside of your own way. Don't be a roadblock and dream a little bigger. I have really big dreams. I work too hard to have small dreams. I work hard. I expect a lot. I work really hard to bring them home to fruition, to make them come true. But part of what that is, then if you're going to have big goals and you want, what's the difference between a goal and a dream? A dream is a dream, right? You'd love to see something. I would love to be a billionaire. Okay, well, what's your plan to become a billionaire? Okay, then. If you have a strategy and you're employing the strategy, now that's a goal, right? So I don't dream about things. I get an idea of something I'd like to accomplish, and then I create a strategy to get there. So here's an example of something that I corrected. This used to be here. The word sales wasn't up at the top at all, but I changed it because my ideal client profile, the people that I'm going after, this is what they're telling me over and over and over again. I'm looking for sales. I need more sales. I need to increase revenue. I need more money coming in the system. Okay, well, we're going to help you do it. But all of this is just to come down here. Avoid marketing mistakes. If you don't recognize what this picture is, it's a Google Analytics sheet. And if you've never seen this before, it doesn't have the graphics over the top that I added. But what you're looking at, the solid bar here, the solid bar is their current website traffic. The dotted line is what their traffic was um, the previous time period. So in this case, in the graphics, we have showing 7 days. But look, they had 26 users, 20 of them were new. But look at the percentages. Session over session, down 40%, down 45%, down 40%. Time of engagement, down 31%. I see this a lot. I'm not going to tell you the company that I used, but it was somebody that reached out to me. They said, "Hey, we'd like you to take a look at what we got going on and see what ideas you might have for us and what services you might recommend that we sign up for." And I said, "Okay, great." So they gave me access to their Google Analytics. I pulled it up and I thought, "Man, this is not going to be hard for me to make a positive impact because what they're doing simply isn't working." Well, when I looked at the website, and I'm not going to bring up their website because I don't want you to know who it is. But when I looked at their website, what I saw, it was just like mistake after mistake after mistake, the way they set up their website. So let's talk about some of it. All right. So again, the number one mistake that people are making, they're just not understanding their target audience. And what I mean by that is not like, okay, well, I know I'm selling to this group or that group. You might have some basic understanding, but I mean some real in-depth marketing research. What social media platform are they on? For example, who are their competitors? Where are their competitors getting their business from? These are some of the keys to really being successful. You have to understand the keywords. Like, what is it when they go to Google and they do a Google search? What is it? This isn't the one I wanted to bring up. We're going to get there in a second. But what is it that they're putting? Now, we call this a query. You might call it the search, but whatever it is, what are they putting in the search bar and hitting go? What are their prospects searching for on Google on a regular basis? What is the terminology that they're using? Because here's another mistake. So, I went to school for business administration. I learned a lot about marketing. And through it, like ICP, for example, ideal client profile avatar, there's these terms, these expressions, as you're learning about whatever it is that you do, there's probably some expert vernacular, some jargon that you use inside the industry or acronyms that you use. It has become so common for you, you know this information so well that you will fill out your website with all the technical jargon. And the problem with that can be is right here. What you should have on your website, the content that you should be using, the phrases that you should be using is not necessarily what it is you do and how you do it from the way that you've learned it from that technical perspective. The acumen that you got, the education that you got could be hurting you. And here's why: because your clients, your prospective clients, your prospects may not be using that terminology. Now, they may be using words that are like it, but not the technical terms. And you need to focus on what they're using so that you can increase what we call SERP. And SERP is simply an acronym that stands for this: it's your search engine results page. I don't like the page in that acronym. I think it should be position or place, but they call it page. But why is that so important? Again, we come back to knowing your audience, knowing who you're going after. I believe it was Pew Research where I got this, but 75% of people on Google, when they do a search like this, will not come down here and hit next page. They're just going to look at the results on this first page. 30% of people are going to click on this first spot. Another 30% are going to click on a combination of these two spots. So 60% of people are going to click just on the first three results on the first page of Google. You're going to get the rest of the people that are going to click on these for the most part. Why? Because like I said, 3 out of 4 people are not going to come down here. And it's less than 10% of the people that'll make it to page 3, and it's less than 1% of people will make it past or to page 4 or after. So if you're not on one of these first few spots, you're essentially giving up the clients that you could be earning by getting to these spots. Well, how do you get to these spots? There's a lot that goes into it. There is absolutely a lot that goes into it. I'm not going to be able to describe it in the next 17 minutes. But here's the thing that you need to know. If you can identify your true prospect base, figure out what type of terminology they're using and putting in the search bar of Google, and then create content, your H tags, your metadata, create content on social media, all that uses that vernacular, your odds of going up on these pages will shoot through the roof, especially if you're looking at your domain authority and working on building those backlinks so that your domain authority goes up. Google calls it eat. And most of you don't eat because you're not eating properly. And what does eat stand for? Well, Google defines eat as this: expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. The trustworthiness is going to come when you use words or phrases that resonate with your clients. So, for example, need more sales. Yes, that's what I need to do. Okay, great. I got them. They're starting to trust me because I've talked to their pain point. I understood their pain point. Now, what is the E? Expertise. Well, that's what you're showing them with all the content that you provide, right? Here's expertise in motion right here. Here's common mistakes that you shouldn't make. By avoiding these common marketing mistakes, you can increase your chances of success. It's 100% true. I'm giving this away to help show my expertise. So when people read it, they'll trust me. Okay. Authoritativeness. Where does that come from? Authoritativeness comes from primarily in the digital space. This thing that's going to be really hard for me to show you here, but I'm going to turn it on so you can see it. So there's a couple places that I trust. One is called Moz. The other is called, I'm going to put this up here. Okay. I have something called a Moz Chrome extension, a browser extension on my website. All right. Now I have a domain authority of 54. That's a score from 0 to a 100. The average website out there on the planet right now is anywhere from an 8 to a 13. Just depends a little bit on what vertical market you're in to know where it is for your vertical market. Okay. But it's somewhere between an 8 and a 13. So when people who know what they're looking at see this domain authority at 54, they go, okay, this is a website that's got some serious gravitas. It's not just a new website. It's not a website full of fluff. There's actually depth and substance to this. How do we get these scores? Well, how we get these scores up is by getting other websites, not your website, but other websites, to point back to your website via what we call a backlink or a hyperlink that says, hey, if you want to learn more about SEO, you want to learn more about marketing, you want to learn about social media strategies, you want to at least learn how to increase your sales, you want to learn about LinkedIn, you want to learn about these things, you should go learn about this on Bowman Digital Media. And we've got 955 different websites right now that are pointing back to Bowman Digital Media's homepage. That's not all the links pointing to my website. That's the amount of websites that are pointing back to my homepage. And I have links from some websites that are pointing to other pages on my site. Okay. Page authority, you don't necessarily need to worry about so much. But in this case, my page authority, again, 0 to 100, the score is a 40. All right. So this is one of the things that a lot of you aren't paying attention to. What is the domain authority of your website? It matters. Why does it matter? Because if I show you this tool, I want you to look at these links, the scores. The very first one result has a domain authority of 50. The second one, 89. The third one, 60. Look at the fourth one, 13. It probably has the same regurgitated information that this one has, but it's in fourth place instead of first place. Well, I told you that 30% of the people are going to go here. Another 30% of the people are going to go here. This is 60% of the overall volume for this search is going to go to these first three spots. So this guy's suffering. How could he jump these guys? He could build his domain authority up from a 13 somewhere in the 50, 60, 70 range and start jumping these. And how's he going to do it? Well, one of the ways that he could really do it is if he were to add more links to his website. In other words, get other websites to start to show that on this topic, this is the company, this is the website that we trust to recommend to you, our visitors. Go here for more information. We trust them. That's why it's so important. Okay. My audience is way bigger than I think. This is my mom and my brother. They're on a cruise. It's a rough life. All right. Insightful. Thank you very much. We're going to go long today because I still have a lot to cover. All right. So, what are some other mistakes? Once you've identified your client, the target audience, this is one of the biggest marketing mistakes that businesses make. If you don't know who you're trying to reach, you can't create marketing messages that will resonate with them. And this is the key word to it all. Your material needs to resonate with them. So take time to research your target audience to understand their needs, wants, and pain points. I'm telling you, this is something that you should invest in. If this is not your jam, if you don't know how to do this, if I've said this and you're like, I don't even know where to begin, well, you're in the majority there too. You should invest in some company to do the work for you. I don't care if you hire Bowman Digital or not. Don't Bowman Digital Media to do this work for you or not, frankly. Hire somebody. Get somebody who knows how to do this and get them to do it for you right away. Because you could be missing the mark just because you're aiming at the wrong thing. You're using the wrong terminology. I know it because I'm looking at your websites and I see what you have on there. And I'd be happy to point that out to anybody who wants a free website analysis. I'll do it live right now. Put your website in the comments and I will get to it for you. All right. So once you know who you're marketing to and what their pain points are, you need to create a clear marketing message because a lot of you don't have one. You're focusing on maybe the thing that makes you the most money, the thing that's the most profitable, or maybe you're focusing on the thing that you think is trending the most. But sometimes you make more hay by focusing on something with a little less competition. That's a big deal when we're doing what we call keyword research. But again, if the message isn't clear, what is it that we are going to do at Bowman Digital Media, this SEO agency? What are we going to do? We're going to help them get more sales by driving traffic to their websites. That's a clear message. You'll see that repeated throughout my website over and over and over again because I want them to know one very important thing. If they want more sales, they need more website traffic. It is so true. But once they come to your website, if your message isn't clear, you're going to miss them. And do you know that not very many people will go back to your site a second time, especially if they went there the first time and didn't find what they were looking for? You've got to get them that first time. You've got to hook them in. Okay, we have a volunteer. She's brave. I love it. Here we're going to go. We are going to check this website out. All right. Now, since she was brave, I'm going to go easy on her. But all right, motivational keynote speaker, Kerline Speaks. Okay. One thing I will tell you right off the bat, I don't love this photo for this because this makes you look aloof. Here's what I mean. Let's say, for example, I don't know you. Okay. And I've come to your website and I see the photo and you're not looking me in the eye. I want you to look at the difference between yours and mine. Now, the little thing's in the way, but I'm looking right there. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm looking right there. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. I'm just going to show you. Okay. I'm looking. Even though my head's tilted, my eye's still right at you. And I'm actually pointing at you to cement it, right? Looking at you. This is the first time you see me not looking directly in your eyes. And I've got my little photo there that's looking in your eyes. So that one, if it was the only one, would be a problem. But when you're looking at pictures of people on a website, especially in that infancy stage where you're trying to develop that rapport. You want to make sure that you're looking at them. And I definitely would recommend getting a video up on the top. Let's see where your first video is. Now, this is much better. I would take this one and put it here. This is a great picture, right? Because you're looking at them. That's a great picture because you're looking at them and you've got a warm, welcome smile on your face. Now, this is a video. I'm going to recommend that you reorder your stack on your website and get this video up here, especially if it's right on message. Now, here's another problem. I'm not 100% sure what this is. Make a free call is great. Book now is great, but the problem is I don't know what is it that I'm booking? I don't know yet because you haven't told me. Does this mean you're a motivational speaker? Does this mean that you're going to train speakers? So are you a coach or are you a speaker for hire? And maybe you do both, but let's get it here. But instead of just saying speaker for hire or I will coach you to speak, what I would recommend is then you say instead something like this. Are you looking to be a better motivational speaker? Do you need help with your on-stage presence? Something like that. What is the question that or what is the problem that you solve? What is the question that they have? What is the thing that again, it's the pain point. So go to that, okay? And put it up here. I'm not saying you have to take this off completely. What I'm saying is this is not a great title for you because it doesn't hit the point. Again, what do my prospects need? They need more sales. So you could say something like, are you looking to be a better motivational speaker? Something like that, right? We'd have to work on that a little bit. This is just off the cuff. Okay. Now you've got something here that's which is interesting, but the way you're displaying it. So it says watch video. The problem is, what's the video? What's it about? Why do I want to watch it? Watch video. What video? Right? Give me more information. The reason why I have YouTube videos on here is actually there's more than one reason. The company that owns Google owns YouTube. It's a Google algorithm booster as best I know. Okay. Question and answer or problem and solution strategy. Yeah, I mean, you've got to speak to their pain points. You really do. Okay? So I like the way these look. I actually don't have a problem with this at all. You might slide it down to add some of that other stuff up at the top to change some of these things out, but I have no problem with that. But this one I do have a problem with. I see this so much. Now, Curleen, you are probably an awesome person. I have no doubt. You look very friendly. But the fact is, you are not the client. The client or the prospect, when they come to your website, especially for the first time, they don't care about you. They don't care where you went to school. They don't care how long you've been doing this. That's irrelevant to them. They have a problem. They want the solution. So if you focus, and I call this, my friend Allison DeFord coined this term. It's called the wee wees. And yes, we're talking about wee wees like pee pee, right? If you wee wee, I have a little dog. He likes to pee on things. It's not great, but it is what it is. He's a cute dog, so we'll keep him. But but if you pee all over your website about your company, about you, about how long you've been doing it, like your credentials, you're going to lose most people. They're not even going to read it. I'm not reading it. I don't care. Because why? I came to your website because I want to be a motivational speaker. I didn't come here to figure out, how you got into it. Now, I'm not saying you don't have that on there. If we go back to Bowman Digital Media and you slide down here, but look how far you got to go. It has a little bit about me there, right? It does. And I have a media kit. You can go check it out. But the fact is, look how far down I am. I'm 3/4 of the way down, and it's just a very tiny little bit. Okay. I'm not really talking about me here. The reason why I'm not is because, again, people don't give a crap. They came here to find out how you could help them. So, what do I do instead? Look at this. What our clients say. Read this. Ira is a miracle worker. He's helped me make my LinkedIn posts smarter and better. He has made my website and posts effortless. He is fun to work with. What more could you want? I recommend Bowman Digital Media for an industry or occasion project. For the past 2 years, we've hired Ira and his team to handle our walkathon event pages and social media page traffic, event day participants, final product results, photography, and videography. I admired their genuine interest in ensuring a successful event. Ira with Bowman Digital Media always went above and beyond to exceed expectations. Just over and over again. Here's my friend, Mike O'Connor. Ira Bowman and his team at BDM deliver quality and work hard to improve their services every single day. BDM can really help with branding and visibility in a number of ways, and they do what they say. I strongly recommend BDM to anyone who needs help with their digital marketing and SEO. And it just goes on, right? Why is this better than this? Because this is speaking about you. This is speaking from a client's perspective about how we help them. And that's what they want. After they know what you can do, now they want some proof. Like, I don't want to be the guinea pig, right? Nobody does. They want to know that you've done it over and over and over and you've delivered good results. So, what you want to do is get people to do stuff like this, right? This right here is if you, I'm going to get out of this for just a second. If you go and you search Bowman Digital Media, which most people aren't going to do, by the way, they're going to search for, a marketing service near me, an SEO company to help with whatever, right? Like help me boost my website traffic, something like that. And I want to come up in the results. But what you want to have your clients doing, the people that have hired you, after the work is done, you want them to go onto Google and leave a Google digital review. This is kind of like a referral, only it's the digital version. And you want people to leave reviews. Now, I've got 12 reviews. That's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. And the fact is, all of them have been 5-star reviews, which is great for me. Okay. But read this. Ira is a value driven businessman with integrity and a vast amount of knowledge and expertise that outshines others. He stays on top of the ever changing industry and therefore paves the way ahead for business owners to receive. I love that. But what's great about that is I didn't write it. Somebody else wrote it. And the somebody else, when I put this, which I eventually will, on my website, down here or on my reviews section, the reason why that's so important is because now I'm validating the claims that I'm making above that resonate with my clients' needs, with what not, it's not even the needs, it's the wants. I might know better than my client what they actually need to improve their marketing. But the fact is, until I can get them to want it, they're not going to pay for it. They might accept it if I was willing to do the work for free. But to actually get them to invest in it, I've got to get them to understand the need for it. So I don't lead with needs, I lead with wants. What do they want? Again, every single day, they want more sales. If I came to you, Carlene, and said, "Hey, do you want more sales?" What would your answer be? Yes or no? Right? If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Ira, do you want more sales?" Yeah, I do. Okay. This is the pain point that I am pushing on. When a business owner comes to my website or somebody that works for a business comes to my website and they're checking us out, what's the number one thing that they want? They want more sales. The rest of it is just how we go about accomplishing it for them. Okay. So I'm going to continue with some of the other mistakes. So not having a clear marketing message, that right there, Curling, no offense, I'm not trying to be rude to you. That's something that you need to address on your website. What you're saying, how you're saying it, so it resonates better with your prospects, your visitors. When they come, it's less about you, it's more about them. So think about FAQs, your frequently asked questions. What questions are you dealing with in prospect meetings all the time? And I want you to think back to the way that people are actually phrasing these questions, because that will give you the insight on what kind of content you need to build and what kind of terminology you want to use, because these words that you use are super important. Okay. So I'm glad that you love the feedback, and I'm sorry it was painful, but I promise you that it will help if you do what I've suggested. And I'm going to give you something that I wasn't intending to do, but this is what I want to do. I want you to send me a direct message. I'm going to send you my calendar link. I'm going to give you a free 30-minute consultation on some of the things that you can do. Okay. Because you were a good sport, I'm going to do that for you. So I'll help you make some tweaks, some adjustments, and you'll see an immediate impact. You're going to get more clients faster just by taking me up on that free 30-minute session, and I'll give it to you, and I'm happy to do it. All right. But I'm going to keep going. All right. So what's next? Not using the right marketing channels. I see this all the time. I gave you an example about me and my strategy at Bowman Digital Media. That first year, I was pretty much a solo flyer. I had a couple people working for me by the end of the year, but it wasn't a very big group. Okay. And the mistake that I was making was that I was focusing mainly on LinkedIn and not focusing enough on Google. It was in the wrong place. It was improportionate, at least. I'm not saying that I don't need to spend some time on LinkedIn. I have a fairly um, large pool of my ICP do use LinkedIn. So I have not abandoned that strategy. I simply adjusted it based on the reality of the demographics. Because how many people are using Google every day? There's 7 billion plus searches that happen on Google every single day. And a large portion of those people fit my client profile. So by focusing my strategy on Google and getting traffic directly from Google, my website traffic went up. The number of client or customer prospect meetings went up. The number of closed sales went up. My revenue went up just by fixing my strategy. All right. I'm glad you like that. Can we use LinkedIn reviews as well? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, this is what I will tell you. Let me show you guys another one. I just learned about this. My buddy Mike actually shared this with me. It's called Trustpilot. So there are all kinds of different places that you can go. So if you go Bowman Digital Media, search, I've got two of them on here. And it's a little frustrating to me because I have two reviews. They're both 5 stars and I got a 3.8 trust score. I don't quite get that, but it is what it is. But if we click on this, we can read the reviews. Okay. Ira is a standout in the digital industry. He's driven by integrity and excellence in his fields. He's in front of expansion and changes our business ahead of the curve. I 100% recommend BDM to anyone who needing. So here's a public review of my company. I absolutely can take this, copy it, paste it over on my website as a client testimonial. I absolutely can do that. I should do that. I haven't done it yet because she just did this recently, right? Here's another one from my friend Mike, who happened to be the one who told me about Trustpilot in the first place. But Ira Bowman and his team, they do their thing, right? It's there. So I could take that, and I did. This right here is right there. I copied it, I pasted it over. And then what did I do? I gave this guy, watch this. If I click on this, it's going to open a new tab and it's going to take you to his website. So I rewarded him. He gave me a review. I liked it. I rewarded him by giving him an active backlink from Bowman Digital Media with a domain authority of 54 over to his website. Now look at his website. His domain authority is 57. He's got 17,000 backlinks to his website. Okay? This is how you build your SEO strategy. Again, I know that's a little bit probably more technical than a lot of you understand. I totally get it. It's fine. All right. But here's the thing, you have to understand where these people are so that you can create a marketing strategy that gets yourself front and center in front of your target prospect. You always hear people talking about the right people. Well, who are the right people? The right people are the folks that you have identified as your ideal client profile. Now, if you have an ideal client profile, I had a client, this was actually a couple years ago now, but when they onboarded with Bowman Digital Media, I asked them straight out, who is your ideal client profile? And they gave me an answer that went something like this: 50 to 65 years old, ready to retire, looking to sell their company. There was a few more details in there, but that was the basic synopsis. And I said, okay, well, let's look at your clients and see how many of them actually fit that profile. So we did a review. We went through every one of their clients and we wrote it down, the demographics of the owner. And you know what was funny? Their ICP was wrong. The ICP they had was what they thought the client should be, not actually who was purchasing from them. So all the marketing stuff that they had developed over the years was aimed at that, who they thought their ideal client profile was, not who it actually was. And just by making the shift and changing the marketing strategy to address the audience that was actually hiring them, their sales increased. Their domain authority on their website went up. They got a lot more engagement on social media because they changed the message to match the actual ICP. So, not using the right marketing channels is a derivative of one of two things. Either people are doing it based on their personal preferences, and this happens a lot, especially with LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. All right. But here's the thing, when I talk to most people and I ask them what social media platforms they're on for their business, they tell me it's LinkedIn only. And I ask why. And they go, well, it's because that's the only social media platform for business. It's the one I like. And I go, are you the client? Are you the prospect? And they go, no. I go, so why the hell does that matter? That's irrelevant. Your personal preferences on social media should not factor in to your social media strategy for your business. It should be centered around your ICP. So if you and your strategy is not centered around your actual ideal customer profile, then it needs to change. And the number one thing I can tell you is you might be shocked because I hear this every day too. I'm not on Facebook because you can't generate with business on Facebook. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you, look at me, or look at me, right in my eyes. Look at me. It's a thing. It's a thing my family does. Anyways, I generate at Bowman Digital Media more business right now on Facebook than I do on LinkedIn. I have 183,000 some odd followers on LinkedIn. I have a much larger profile on LinkedIn than I do on Facebook. I think on Facebook I have 2,100 followers, but I get more revenue derived from my efforts on Facebook right now than I do from LinkedIn. Now, there's a couple reasons why that's true. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get kicked off LinkedIn, but that's the fact. Do I like Facebook? Not really. I basically had gotten myself off of Facebook until I launched my business. And then I came back because I don't like it. But guess what? I'm not hiring me at Bowman Digital Media. My clients are hiring me. My prospects are hiring me. They become clients. They're finding me more through Facebook. Why? A lot of it has to do with the engagement that I get. I get a lot more engagement on Facebook than I do on LinkedIn. Again, with a huge discrepancy. I can't say that word. Anyways, there's a large difference. There's a huge gap. Like I said, 2,100 versus 183,000 followers on the two different platforms. I have 145,000 followers on Instagram. I generate as much business on Instagram as I do on LinkedIn. I have 21, 23, something like that, 23,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I don't drive a lot of business from YouTube. I use it to help me in a variety of ways to reach my audience, but I'm not landing clients because of YouTube videos. You understand what I'm saying? So if you ask me, Ira, where are you focusing your attention on social media for Bowman Digital Media? Well, I'm focusing it on Facebook. I'm focusing it on Instagram. I'm focusing it on LinkedIn. I do make YouTube videos all the time, content all the time. This video right here is live on YouTube, and I'm happy to be there. Okay. But I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And my primary focus right now is Facebook for social media. And it isn't because it's my favorite. It's probably my least favorite. I don't like X. I'm not a Twitter fan. I'm not really a fan of TikTok, although it's growing on me because they're starting to show me stuff that I'm actually interested in, as opposed to things that, cause problems for me. So I'm not a TikToker per se, right? I really like this product Threads that Instagram put out. I'm not generating any business from it, so I'm not focusing on it. It just doesn't work for me yet. And it isn't because it couldn't. It's partly because I haven't figured out the best way to use it yet. I haven't developed a strategy that works yet. I will over time. I'll figure it out. I figure them all out. It's part of what I do. Okay. You can generate business anywhere you're willing to do the work and where your clients are. Well, this is a big part of it, where your clients are, right? Go where the money resides. It's true, right? It shouldn't involve personal feelings or preferences, right? It should mostly be about where are they hanging out. But it isn't necessarily just them directly. I'm going to tell you that Facebook, I get a lot of work business derivative of Facebook posts, but it isn't necessarily to my direct client or prospect. What happens more is this: I educate the people on Facebook who really know me and like me, get to know what it is that we do and how we help. They see people that they are familiar with that I'm not and don't have direct access to, who need what we offer, and then they will connect us somehow. A lot of times it's through a message or a group, or they'll put my information, they'll tag me in the comments and say, hey, you should talk to Ira. He can fix your website, he can do your photography, whatever. Right. So I get a lot of work from Facebook that way. It isn't because somebody saw my post, it's because my friends who understand, because I educate in my posts what it is we do and how we help, they've kind of got it now. And when they see people who need it, they tag me. That used to happen a lot for me in LinkedIn. It doesn't happen so much anymore for whatever reason. For whatever reason, it doesn't even matter. Right. But make sure you're using the right marketing channel. Okay. This is a huge one. If you're in marketing and you're not tracking results, you're not in marketing. Okay. Because what do we do in marketing? We take data, we take what we know, we create a hypothesis, we develop a strategy, we implement the strategy, then we monitor the results, and then we revise the strategy based on the results. And that never stops. We keep doing that over and over and over again. So if you're not tracking your results, you're not in marketing. You're just guessing. You could call it sales. And I don't take offense to that because, like I said, I spent over 20 years in business to business sales. And that's what we did, right? We took a little bit of what we knew, we developed a sales strategy, and we ran with it. But the data, tracking the results, pinpointing what is working, what isn't working, making the adjustments, doing it again, tracking the results as you go. If I ask you what's your domain authority this month, you should be able to tell me the number. Mine right now is a 54. If you ask me what was my domain authority last month, I could tell you it was a 16 on Moz. Okay. I can tell you every month what my domain authority is. I can tell you my traffic. I can tell you how many new clients I got. I can tell you how many posts I put out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter. I can tell you all of that stuff and a hell of a lot more because we track it. How do you know where to invest your time? How do you know where to invest your money? How do you know if a vendor or a service that you're paying for is actually working? It's got to be tracked. And if you have hired a marketing company that's not giving you any of those reports, giving you the data on a regular basis, whether that's, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever, if they're not giving that for you, then you probably need to have a conversation with another company. My business is a lot about reporting data. We analyze it, we track it, we put it in a report, and then we review it with our clients so they know what's happening. And that's one of the reasons why we don't do long-term contracts at Bowman Digital Media. If what we're doing isn't working, we don't want you to stay with us. We would rather you find a company who can get you what you're looking for, what you need. And that's why I turn away business too, by the way. Because sometimes I'm talking to people and they have expectations that don't match their budget. And I know it's not realistic. And I just say, I'm sorry, but it's not going to be a good fit because we cannot deliver what it is that you really want. And I would rather tell you that up front than have you waste some time and some money on us. That's why when you go look at all our reviews, anywhere you go, they're always great. Part of that is because I understand that understanding what it is that they want and what they're willing to invest in it and the time frame that they're willing to allow it to happen are all major factors in me accepting an assignment or saying, I'm sorry, it's not a good fit. You've got to be good at that part too. Okay. All right. Another thing is, oh my gosh, I worked for a company. It's not being consistent with their marketing, but I worked with a company. It was kind of a joke. They would come out with a new marketing specialty program, something. Focus on this month. And so we would hit it for 30 days. But just as we were starting to get some momentum with that, then the next month, brand new campaign. And then all of a sudden we'd have to grind to a halt on everything that we were doing, switch gears, and now focus on this. And what's funny is if they had just like picked one or two a year and hit it, it would have, they didn't give it enough time to matriculate, right? Enough time to let it soak, to build our reputation, our credibility, our awareness in the community that this is what we're good at. So it used to drive us nuts. In fact, it got to the point where some of us, myself included, stopped focusing on the marketing message of the month because we knew we had been burned by it so many times. Like we had a quota that we had to hit in sales. You've got a quota. You've got to hit it or you get fired because that's the sales life, right? There's a lot of pressure in it. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into marketing in the first place. It's like, man, they would just hire me to do their marketing instead of the sales. I could help the whole company sell a lot more. Every sales guy, every salesperson in that company would have appreciated a better, cohesive marketing strategy, a consistent marketing strategy that endured past short intervals. Because you might be doing, well, I change it every 3 months. Well, that might still be too frequent. The vertical market, the audience that you're talking to, doesn't need to get fatigued. Like imagine you're a client of mine when I was working at that company. And every month I came into you with a new sales pitch for a new thing. We had never talked to you about it before. And now all of a sudden, this is a focus of ours. Good night. It'll wear you out. You don't want your clients to get worn out. Okay. Your prospects to get worn out. The internet is horrible everywhere. Sales are hard. Marketing is a lot harder. Well, I don't know. Sales never were hard for me. But the reason why I was always good at sales is because I understood how important the relationship was. And it's the same with marketing. Marketing and sales, you can't separate them. They are hand and glove. It's really a lot of the same thing. The marketing focusing on the messaging and the strategy behind it. The sales are going to go out and try and close the deal, right? Once people are aware of your offer, they're aware of your service, then the sales team is going to go out there and try and get the contract signed. But what makes it hard is when people are not building that relationship or they don't understand the audience. You really got to do both. The very top of the show, what did we say? We said the number one mistake that people are making is they don't understand their audience. It isn't about you, it's about them. And I don't care if you're a solopreneur working by yourself or you work at some major company. The audience is not internal. That's an HR thing. That's a management thing. You need to get people in line and on board to see the vision and communicate and work together. 100% you do. But those internal clients is not what your marketing campaign as a whole should be about, especially not for your external marketing. Your internal marketing, like I said, it's not unimportant. Your HR team needs to work with marketing to make sure that your internal team is happy 100%. But if you have a marketing strategy that understands the client, that understands the problems, and is providing the information in terminology on channels that your client is on, and you resonate with them, you're going to find that sales happen much easier. You're going to find that marketing results are improved. If you're just taking money and throwing it at, seeing what sticks, that's not really marketing. It might be marketing efforts, marketing campaigns, but it isn't truly marketing because you have to understand who you're going for. You have to have a message that resonates. Then again, you got to track the results and then you've got to adjust the strategy from the theory of it that we developed in, our marketing lab versus the real world results and go, okay, well, we thought it was going to be this, but it was actually that. So we're going to change and pull this part out. We're going to add more videos or whatever. We're going to spend more money on ads. We're going to buy some backlinks. We're going to do whatever we have to do to get this up, right? We're going to focus on Google instead of LinkedIn, for example. You know what I mean? Those are things that will help. But being consistent with your marketing message is a reason that some people are making they're not having success because they're so busy. It's almost like, oh, I've got an example. I don't necessarily want to call him out. All right, I'm going to give you an example. One of my clients, love this guy to death, been working with him for years, right? So he had this idea that he was going to have an intuition masterclass, right? Now, he knows how important intuitive leadership is and he's coaching people on how to be more intuitive so that they can win in business. The problem with this strategy was when we looked up the search volume for the word intuition or intuitive coaching or leadership with intuition, any of those combinations, there was virtually no traffic for any of it. But he was certain that that would work. So we developed a page for him. Here it is. It's got all the stuff on it. And what he found was, and it was no shock to me, but after 2 months, it just wasn't working. Like he wasn't getting a lot of traffic for this. He got some, but not a lot. And it certainly wasn't enough to get him what he was looking for. So what did we do instead? We said, okay, let's go back to the drawing board just a little bit and let's figure out what is it that people are actually searching for, right? Well, these are the things that they're searching for: leadership coaching and business consulting. So achieve business growth you only dreamed of. Stellar Insight will help you discover, define, and deliver lasting results. Unleash energy that accelerates your business and your team, right? And so we developed content around this and it worked much better. Now, when we started this, his website domain authority was a 12, and now he's at a 19. He's got 1,132 links. That's other people pointing back to his website. So there's an example of just changing slightly the strategy to adjust to the audience, the target audience that he's actually trying to have hire him, right? And part of that was looking back through his existing clients, going, okay, why did they hire you? Why did they hire you? Why did they hire you? Oh, here's who they are. Here's why they hired me. Oh, okay, well, I'm seeing a theme here. Let's go to the theme. And that's how it works. Okay. So again, if you are not being consistent with your marketing, or you have a marketing message that's not clear, or you don't understand your target audience. These are all common mistakes and they will lead you so far astray. You likely will be missing out on a lot of sales. And who are the sales going to? They're going to your competitors who've taken the time to figure all this stuff out and put together a cohesive marketing and sales strategy that resonates with the target audience in and is delivered on the channels wherever they are. That could be television, that could be radio, that could be billboards, that could be car wraps, that could be LinkedIn, that could be Google, that could be anywhere. I'm not saying that the right channel is the same for all of you. It depends on who you're going after. If your demographic is, 10-year-olds to 18-year-olds, you're probably going to be in different spots than if your demographic is 35 to 50 like mine. You get it? All right. Here's another problem. Oh my gosh. There are people out there in business who are not spending a single penny in marketing. They're not investing in it. They're not, they're just throwing some stuff out every once in a while and hoping that's sufficient. They're managing their own website or they've got a kid doing it. It's like their little brother or their cousin or their grandkid. No offense, but really, how inspiring is that to your clients when your website goes down and you go, "Hey man, I'm sorry, but my kids, in school, they'll get it up eventually." Think about that. Right? Or I'm not investing in I don't have a LinkedIn business page. I don't have any Google reviews for my business. I don't have um a real website. And no offense to those of you on Wix, Weebly, and GoDaddy, but you don't have a real website. You need to have a real website. What does your competition have? Because here's the next point. There are people who are not investing in marketing, and there's certainly even more people who are not keeping up with their competitors. Do you even know who your competitors are? And I don't mean this facetiously. I'm like being serious. Do you know who Google thinks your competitors are? Because you can find out right now for free. I can show you any website in the world. Like, for example, if we want to go back to our friend Curly, right? Curly, who are your competitors? Do you know? There are all kinds of tools you can use. This is one of them. SEMrush. I'm actually not a huge fan of them, but I like the reports that they send. So right here, if I come here, what's it going to tell me? My authority score is 2. That's out of 100. That's not very good, right? Organic search traffic. This is a huge problem. It's saying you have no organic traffic. All right. Now, come down, just scroll down. These are keywords. We'll come back to that in a second. But main organic competitors. Look, this is who it's saying your main organic competitors are. And you can view the details and find out more. But what you want to know is, where are they getting their traffic? What do they have on their website? What content are they talking about? What are their best performing pages? What social media channels are they performing well on? Why do I want to know all that stuff? Here's why. Because if they are investing money in marketing and they're driving traffic to their website, which all these are, because these are what we call your main organic competitors. If you can figure out what it is they're doing that is successful and mimic it, then you should expect that you will see positive results. In fact, you might even start siphoning off some of the prospects that would have went to them. They're now going to come to you instead. See what I mean? Hugely important. But so many people, when I ask them who are their main competitors, they can't tell me. And I'm like, dude, that's a problem. It's a huge problem. It's a common mistake. Almost everybody's making this. I don't understand why. To me, it's one of the most obvious things. You got to know who your competition is. All right. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you view them. This is a problem that we have over and over and over again. I see it every single day. Right. Don't think of it from like, I'm the only one who does this, or well, they don't do that part, so they're not really competition. Like, no, they are your competition because the internet, the people that do what I do are these tools. All right. So we have Ahrefs is a good one. Moz is a good one. SEMrush, I don't really like these guys, but I like the way they report their stuff. It's user friendly. Okay. So with Ahrefs and Moz, you kind of have to be a little bit more technical, probably more with Ahrefs than Moz, frankly. But you can go on any of these tools. I'm showing you free stuff. I'm not showing you any of the stuff that you have to pay for. I'm doing that on purpose because most of you are not in marketing and you're probably not going to spend $100 a month on a tool that you don't understand anyway. Right. I understand that. But you can find this information for free. Why does it matter? Because you're losing website traffic to these people. Whether you consider them competition or not, you are losing traffic to these folks. And by the way, again, this is painful, but it's telling me that you're getting no organic search traffic, which means you don't have any keywords that rank on Google on the first page. So, one of the things that we need to do on your website when we're doing this review is figure out what's in your metadata. Do you have a schematic report? Do you have a robots report? Do you have a sitemap? What do your H tags look like? Because I promise you, the answer to organic traffic, forget even what's on your website, is going to be found foundational. There are 5 basic components of SEO. I'm going to show them to you just so you guys know if you've never seen this before. Super, super important. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Okay. If you want to know how SEO works, go to my website, click on the services page, and then go down to SEO. Okay. Here's what I want to show you. Super important. Website structure is number one. There are 5 basic components to SEO, but if your website's not set up right, you're going to miss out on everything. It'll kill you before you even get started. Get off Wix, Weebly, and GoDaddy. Get yourself a real host. You don't have to pay, like the one that I use, Bluehost. You can start a plan shared hosting for like $5.45 a month. I'm not talking about a lot of money. It's just who's your host makes a difference because there are things out there. Google, well, not necessarily Google, but SEMrush, Moz, Ahrefs considers them hobby sites. Your domain authority is never going to get past a 9 if you're on a hobby site. It just isn't. Right now, GoDaddy is the exception to that. You can actually, if you're on a paid plan, get up into the teens, but I've never seen anybody on GoDaddy above a 19 ever. Not ever. And I've been doing this for a long time. Right. Okay. Website structure is super important. Your on page content is important. Your website speed is important. The backlinks are important and visitor traffic is important. Does Bluehost come with WordPress site? Yes, Bluehost only does WordPress, right? In fact, I'm gonna tell you if you have like a Kajabi or any of these other sites, Squarespace, you need WordPress. It's not, WordPress. It's not that you have to have WordPress because, frankly, the best websites on the planet are not WordPress. But most of my audience is on WordPress or something else under it. You can actually have a custom built website. So something like a Facebook, a Google, a YouTube, those aren't WordPress sites. Those are custom, it's custom coded, right? The CSS is all custom, and that's fine. Okay. But most of us don't have a server, our own server, right? Most of us don't have a team of developers working to do a full stack development on a custom built website. So you use WordPress, it's got a theme, it's got plugins, all that stuff. Okay. But your host makes a difference. So if you're being hosted on GoDaddy, even if you're on WordPress, you still got a major problem. If you're on Kajabi, even worse. I have a client, I'm not going to show you, they built theirs on Kajabi. They have a domain authority of a 4 and they've invested in some SEO. You got to be on WordPress, 100%. Okay. All right. So why did I show you this? Visitor traffic. It's one of the 5 basic components to SEO. If you have a traffic problem, you don't have enough traffic, it's going to hold down your overall SEO score. And that's important because that's going to affect your SERP. Your SERP is where you rank on Google. And where you rank on Google is how you're going to eat or not. Okay. So when you see this, organic search traffic 0, ooh, That's bad. You have 19 keywords. If I click on these, I could see what they are. I'm not going to do that right now. But if you click on that and look at those, I guarantee you none of those are above a 10 score. In other words, 1 through 9. You might have some 11s to 20s, probably not with a 0 score, right? But this is what I'm talking about here. Okay. So let me go back. Not keeping up with the competition is mainly about traffic. It's not that you're copying their price structure, their service structure. You're not trying to be them. You're trying to beat them on Google. That's the game. Marketing, you need traffic. So if you can figure out who your competition is, where they're getting their traffic from, go and match those strategies so that you have a puncher's chance, at least, of getting some of that traffic. You can usurp their traffic, build your score, and overtake them on Google. And the more you overtake your competitors, you start building and building, building, you get to that first page, your life can change. 100% can can help you crush them. That's exactly right. Crush them. All right. So what's another thing? This is actually the thing that people probably struggle with the least, at least that I see on a regular basis. I see some fairly creative folks out there. Now there are some people that have been doing the same old thing for like 20 years, 30 years and they think that's their brand and so they don't want to do anything outside their brand. I get it. It's a mistake, but I get it, right? But the fact is be creative. Be creative in the solutions that you offer. Be creative in the type of graphics that you use. Mix up like JPEGs with PowerPoint slides, with videos, with audios. Don't always do the same stuff. Why? Because if you expand your base where the message is hitting, even if you, and I'm going to give you my Facebook strategy as an example. Okay. Even if you don't directly hit the ICP, your intended audience, but you hit people that are close to them. Think of Kevin Bacon's 6 degrees of separation. So you don't hit the business owner that you were trying to reach, but you hit their wife, or you hit their husband, or you hit their uh, employee, or an employee's spouse, right? If you can get your content to somebody that's connected to the person that you're trying to hit, then they can send it to them because it resonates. You can still get a sale. I get a lot of second touch sales that way, where they're second level. So the person I reached was not the actual target, but they were close enough to the target that they took it and passed it forward. And then I got the sale. Yeah, 100%. The more you learn, the more you're able to grow. Yeah, and the more strategy that you implement. Intelligent strategy makes a huge difference. Just get close enough. It it works for me. It works for a lot of my clients. You don't have to go direct to. This is one of the great things about LinkedIn with the first, second, and third degree connection levels, right? So if I'm trying to reach out to, I'm just going to throw out a name, the CEO of Xerox, right? If I'm trying to reach the CEO of Xerox and I'm not first degree connected to them and they're not really using LinkedIn all that much, because frankly, they're not, right? Even if you see their profile, the odds are they have a VA doing the work for them. Hello, right? They're not using it at all. They've got a virtual assistant doing their work. I know it's not supposed to happen, but it happens a lot on LinkedIn specifically. All right. The odds of me reaching that person directly are very small because they're not even on the platform really. They have a profile. I understand. They make comments. I get it, but they're not the ones behind the keyboard. You understand what I'm saying? However, they have all kinds of people from Xerox that actually are. In fact, there's probably somebody from Xerox watching my show right now because I spent 20 years in the print business and I've got a lot of connections in the print business. Okay. And I moved a lot of equipment. So I've been on Xerox's radar for a long time. All right. There's probably somebody watching from that company. They could take what I say, and pass it forward to the CEO of Xerox. I didn't hit them directly. I hit them with a secondary connection. And sometimes you can even get a third connection to do that for you, right? This is why comments on social media are so important. All right, we are way over time and I am almost done. Here is another one. Again, I gave you this example with one of the companies that I worked for. And I gave it to you here where it was not being consistent with their marketing. But here's why they weren't being consistent. They weren't patient with it. It's like, oh, we thought this campaign was going to do all this incredible stuff. It's fallen way short of the campaign goal targets. So we're going to move away from it and go another direction. But if they had just waited, I'm telling you, they had just waited. I was so frustrated. Month after month after month, year after year, this became a huge joke because of how impatient they were. So find a plan, a strategy that you believe in, and then give it time to blossom. Because how many seeds in the ground, if somebody had just kept watering those seeds, would eventually turn into these tall trees, these towers of cash? Because that's what happens when you get clients. They bring in new revenue. But sometimes people need more than a month or even a year for it to really stick, for it to really resonate. So here I'm going to summarize it. I'm going to summarize it like this, the show. There are these mistakes that people are making. They're common mistakes. The number one mistake that people are making is they aren't focusing the message on the actual audience. There's too much marketing materials, whether it's your website or the media that you're putting out, whether that's ad or social media posts or whatever. I don't care. Any of your medias, digital or traditional. It's missing the mark because the person who wrote it wasn't thinking about the right audience. They were thinking about, oh, we need to tell them we can drive your domain authority up 20 points in 30 days, which I can do, by the way. But I don't make posts like that because most people wouldn't understand it. I'd be missing the mark. The service is phenomenal. You all, if you have a website, should hire me to do that service for you. It's the biggest no-brainer out there. But I don't talk about that very much because most people don't understand it. So what do I do instead? I talk about the things that they do understand. They want to increase sales. They need Google to generate more traffic for their website, or they know that their website is great, but they're not getting enough traffic. And if they could only get more traffic, they would get more leads. If they could get more leads, they would get more sales. Yeah. So that's what I focus on. Focus on that message. Understand who your clients are, not based on what you think it should be, but based on what it actually is. So in your ICP evaluation, when was the last time you actually went back through your existing clientele and looked at it and held it up against your ICP profile and said, I thought my ICP was this, but actually after looking at my clients, it's a little bit more of that, right? So do that review. That's a challenge for you, a takeaway. Who are you getting business from right now? And does that match your ICP? Or if you haven't created an ICP, then create your ideal client profile and start thinking about your message. Then look at your ICP, look at your messages on your website, on your all your marketing materials, and look, does the message that we're putting out resonate in its current form, in its current vehicle? So in other words, the content that you've written and the place that you've delivered it, whether it was an email, website, traditional mail, advertising on TV or radio, your social media campaigns, all that stuff. Does it match, the message match what the ICP cares about, what they struggle with? Or are we talking more like most people do? This is who we are. This is what we offer. This is how much experience we have. This is how great we are. This is why we're better than our competition. Again, in case you haven't figured this out, your ICP doesn't give a rip about any of that yet. It's not that they won't eventually care about that. They will. It's important to have that stuff on your website, but you shouldn't be leading with it. It shouldn't take up primary real estate on your website or in your brochures, in your marketing materials. Why? Because before they care who you are and the experience that you have and what sets you apart from your competition, what they really want to know is, how can you help me with my problem? So if you know what their problem is and you address it right out of the gate, front and center, the most important, most valuable real estate you have, whether that be in your profile banner, whether that be on the top of the fold, your header on your website, whether that be the the center space on an advertising artwork, right? Hit the nail on the head of their pain point and watch what happens. Then be consistent with it. Go out there month after month and deliver that message. When you go on podcasts, when you send out emails, you write a book. Look, what is this book about? I just put this book out. It's Business Tips from the Trenches, Expert Advice to Start Your Small Business and Side Hustle. What do you think I wrote about in here? Right? What do you think I wrote about? If you had to guess, right? What would your guess be? Like, what did Ira Bowman actually write about? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. This is my chapter, Ira Bowman. I'm going to give you the 3 tips. I'm going to tell you. Tip number 1, if you spend all your time working on your business, you won't have time to build it. In other words, if you're doing all the day-to-day work, you don't have time to strategize on it. I go through that in detail. Tip number 2, being obscure is bad. Do not ignore marketing and SEO. It's right there, folks. Don't ignore your marketing and your SEO because the world doesn't know about you. You might think they do, but a very, 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 very small look. I have over 500,000 followers on all of social media combined, and most people still have no idea who I am, right? How many billions of people are there? I think it's over 8 billion people on the planet, right? Like 8.4 or something like that the last time I checked. It's a lot of people. 500,000 people maybe actually know my name. That's a very small drop in the bucket. The third thing I said is schedule time for life, including your family, dating, your significant other, exercise, sleeping, and reading. I do that because you don't want to burn out. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. The lesson learned, I said, is don't over focus on what your prospects and client need. Instead, build around what they want that your product or service can deliver. Let me give that to you one more time. Don't over focus on what your prospects and clients need. Instead, build around what they want that your product or service can deliver. Again, they want more sales. I don't do sales, but my product, my service can help them increase their sales. And so I built a campaign all around that. That is how you're going to fix your marketing mistakes. Again, these are common mistakes. I'm not picking on anyone here. They're common marketing mistakes to avoid, and you can fix all of them really easily, right? Not understanding your target audience is a problem. Not having a clear marketing message, it's a problem. Not using the right marketing channels, this is a very common problem. Not tracking results, that's unfortunate, but it happens a lot. Not being consistent with marketing is a huge problem. Not investing in your marketing is a problem. Not keeping up with your competition, not being creative with your marketing, and not being patient. Look, I'm telling you, if you make sure that you are doing well with all these things, you are likely going to be very successful. Okay. That is 51 minutes of overtime. I think this is officially the longest marketing Monday ever, but I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we went through it. Now, look, I'm going to spend some time in the coming weeks talking about domain authority, talking about pillar content. I'm going to talk about um, the importance of the ICP. So if you have watched this and you're like, oh my gosh, we're making all these mistakes, but I'm still like lost. I don't know what to do. I'm going to tell you a couple things. First of all, If you're lost at this point, you probably shouldn't be doing this by yourself. Get some help, whether that's me and my team at Bowman Digital Media or one of the millions of others of marketing companies that are out there. Get some professional help, right? It doesn't cost as much as you might think to get some help. I have plans starting at $500 a month, just as an example, right? And I know there's other companies out there that actually have plans that start at less. You can get an hour consultation with me once a month for $250. It's actually 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes, $250. So I could come once a month for 90 minutes and give you some advice. We can look at what you've been doing. We can look at what your competitors are doing. We can come with a strategy, and then you have your team implement it. But we actually will do the work for you starting at $500 a month. Okay. So it's not necessarily super expensive. Again, this isn't a commercial for my service. I'm just trying to tell you, if you're lost at this point, you probably need that help. If you're not lost, but you looked at that checklist and you go, I'm doing some of these things incorrectly. Well, first of all, I'm not surprised. I think probably everybody, if they're being honest, is doing at least one of those things incorrectly. They're common for a reason because a lot of people are making those mistakes. So fix them. Commit right now to fixing those issues. Plug the holes, stop taking on water, and watch what happens. You'll increase your sales. When you increase your sales, it's easier to hire marketing folks. The other thing I'll suggest is keep watching this show because over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to dive deep into a few, like today was more of like a 30,000-foot view of the problems. But over the next few weeks, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to dive into like one section of marketing and focus, like, think of it like a master class in these different sections. Okay. So I'm going to do that for you guys. I do have an announcement. I'm actually going to be out of town next week. So my show next week won't be live. It actually won't be on at all. But if you are like, man, I need more of this, Ira, you can't abandon us. Okay, I'm going to help you out. What you can do, turn this off. What you can do is you come over to my website, go to the About section, and then drop down to Marketing Mondays. If you do that right there, you can watch. Look how many episodes I have. I have a lot of these episodes that you can watch. And I tell you who they are and what they're about a little bit. And then I have some other shows down here at the bottom from my industry interviews, which I actually haven't been doing recently, but I might kick this back on too. Might do that like on a Friday or something. But anyways, check out some of these other episodes of Marketing Mondays because there's a lot of information that you can glean from these shows. And then you can also, like I suggested earlier, go to the services tab, then go to SEO. Scroll about halfway down, right? There's services here and offerings that I have. I'm not trying to sell you these right now. I'm just showing you. If you scroll down past these and go just right to this black line, right? SEO matters. You can watch my TEDx talk. You can watch the master class that I did on marketing a few weeks ago. But then I have information on pillar content a lot because pillar content is extremely important. Demographics and identifying your audience, just like we talked about today, in a video on it, right? More about pillar content. Is SEO really worth it? We talk about that there. What about domain authority and how it affects your SERP, which is where you rank on Google? 5 reasons to keep working on SEO each month. It is something you should be doing as long as you have your website. You should never stop working on it. Don't ignore demographics. Understand your ICP is right here, and then you can contact me. Anyways, there's a lot of information. It's free on the website. You don't have to pay me. It's okay if you go and use the tool and the resource to fix some of your issues so that you can generate more sales. And then with that revenue, you have money to hire folks like us or another team. Like I said, there's a lot of different marketing firms out there that can help you. Find the one that's going to get you the results that you need, right? But if they don't start with this question, let's talk about your audience. Who is your ideal client? If they're not asking questions like that, they're probably not the right marketing firm for you. And make sure you're getting data reports every month showing you where you were, where you are, and where your trajectory is. Because again, if you're not getting that, you're not really getting marketing help. You might be getting some marketing services, but marketing is all about the data. Like at the end of the day, we formulate strategies based on what we know to accomplish a certain goal. But then once that time period has elapsed, we need to look at we, where we ended up for better or worse, and then make any calibration adjustments that are needed moving forward. Okay. My name is Ira Bowman. This is Marketing Mondays. It's been a pleasure having you all join me. Thank you so much, Olamide, for that compliment. Maria, it was nice to have you. Go ahead and check this out. The whole video is 2 hours long. This is my longest episode ever. Um, Curly and I look forward to meeting with you. I'm gonna give her a free. She was she volunteered to let me evaluate her website. I just looked at the homepage briefly, gave her some ideas. I kind of beat her on the head a little bit, but it was intended to help her, not hurt her. So I wasn't really trying to smash her or anything. But there it is. Sabrina. Again, if y'all don't know Sabrina, you need to connect with her. She was a former intern of mine. She's a great person. She's got super talent. And somebody should put her on her team for sure. Anyways. All right. My name's Ira Bowman. I will check you out. Not next week. I'm going to be in Florida, Sabrina. I'm going to be up in the Pensacola area. So I won't be close to you, but I'm going to be in Pensacola next week. So I will be back not next Monday, but the following Monday again next week. If you want to check out the show, go ahead to bowmandigitalmedia.com. Here, let me put the banner up so you can see it. There it is. I was like, I got all these banners, but where's mine? bowmandigitalmedia.com. Go to the About tab, drop down to Marketing Mondays, and you can find the show there. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day, everybody.